Hey, good morning. So I've got a few different mods that I'm going to work on the bike this morning. I've got a lot of small projects that I'm not bothering to do full videos on, like the Brembo brakes, because I've done them on other bikes before. But I did put the front P34 caliper on the Dax a week or so ago, and I have the P32 and the bracket from Chimera Engineering that I'm going to use to throw on the rear. But while I have the rear wheel off, I'm also going to change the sprocket. I've got a 36 tooth sprocket. The stock sprocket for the Dax is a 34 tooth sprocket. So by changing this is effectively the same, slightly less low of a gear ratio as moving one tooth lower in the front, which is the easier and cheaper way to do it. For when you don't have to change the chain, it just makes it a little bit longer, but there's room within the adjustments for that. I am probably going to change the chain to make this one fit, but seeing if I can't get a little more top speed and overall snappier performance by changing the gear ratio. Again, I'm going to a 36 tooth rear sprocket, but dropping just one tooth in the front from the stock 15 to a 14 would have a very similar effect. On a top speed run that I did on this bike, before I was getting to 61 miles per hour along a particular stretch of road near my house, but I will just continue to use that as my test bed to see top speed that I'm getting out of the different changes that I make to the bike. At that 61 miles an hour, the RPM was only at, I think, 7,000, so there's more engine there to go, seeming like I'm gear limited. So let me pop this on the bike and we'll see if I don't pick up a little more speed. I know I'll pick up a little more snappiness. So off the line, it should be a little bit quicker, but anyway, let's see what happens after I get this on the bike. And I don't think I mentioned why I'm installing a rear sprocket instead of the front sprocket to get, again, a similar effect, and that is just that this looks cooler. The stock chainring is a lot heavier and looks a lot uglier. So honestly, I think that just looks so much cleaner than the stock one. And these get torqued down to 24 foot-pounds. Okay, I got the new sprocket on. I also didn't need to change the chain. You can see that it moved it pretty far forward in the swing arm, but there's still enough play to do proper chain tensioning. Anyway, it looks much better than the stock one. So I've already been riding around a little bit. It does feel a lot peppier, just like all the other bikes when you change the gearing. Again, this is pretty much the same as just dropping the front sprocket down one tooth, but let's go ahead and see what we're getting from a top speed perspective now. All right, so the audio internal to my helmet wasn't running on the speed test that I did, but I did pick up a couple of miles an hour. I think I saw about 63 miles per hour on the GPS. I'm using that Beeline Moto 2, which pulls the GPS off the phone. It also does cool turn-by-turn navigations, but for these tests, it's great just to have that on display instead of having to have my whole phone out there. Anyway, so cool that I picked up a couple of miles per hour, but if you can hear the audio from the outside, I'm actually pegging the rev limiter in fourth gear at that 63 point some odd miles per hour that I hit. So while this is a cool solution if you're trying to maximize how much power and top speed you're getting out of the standard performance package, that's great. For me though, I don't think that's going to work, because once I start digging into the engine, I'm definitely going to be making more power than I am now. So, you know, when I think about that, and I think in the stock setup I was getting to like 7,000 RPM when I was hitting the max speed of 61 miles per hour. So that stock gear ratio may actually be pretty good for me, depending on how much power I make. And again, I only went 2 teeth down in the rear, which is slightly less than going 1 full tooth in the front. So I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend dropping a full tooth in the front, because I think that's going to put your top speed at 62 miles per hour before you're hitting the rev limiter in fourth gear. So we'll see what I do from a gearing perspective, especially as I start making power. For now, it's perfect because I'm getting the full power out of every single gear, and yeah, hitting the rev limiter at the very top of the power band that, or the very top miles per hour that this bike can make at the moment. But again, I'll be modifying the gear ratio as I'm making more power so that I'm yeah, consistently getting all the power out of all 4 gears. So anyway, quick test, interesting to see where this landed me. And again, I'll do future videos on gear ratios as I start to actually make power on the bike, but did pick up definitely peppiness across all 4 gears. First, second was already pretty usable, even more so. And again, now running out of RPM at the same time I'm running out of miles per hour. So perfectly matched for performance now. We'll see what it changes as I keep making modifications on this bike. Anyway, if this was interesting at all to you, please give me that thumbs up. Thank you everybody very much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and keep on building.